Oh, sure.
I don't know. I bidded out some solar panels and they just called me today and they were like, we have to increase the bill we quoted you by 20%. And I was like, okay, well, no. Like, but yeah, like, nope, not doing that. But
Yeah, you're saying that, I mean, that they might legitimately have a reason to charge you more, or that they're just going to do it because they see an opportunity to ask for
I'm
more money.
saying that, well, it could be as evil as they see an opportunity and they just want to gouge, but it also could legitimately be that all the other costs of everything else in their life are going up to a point that they now have to raise prices even if food costs haven't gone up.
Hmm.
So like it's weirdly happening to things that I didn't think it would affect this quickly already, where like multiple things have come back to me and said, hey, we got to go up 10, 20, as high as 30% on some things. The solar panels make sense because they have to manufacture them overseas, but I don't know. I've also seen restaurants like we have to raise our prices after Easter because everything we're sourcing from everybody, all the companies that we source stuff from are all raising their prices. But
Wow.
yeah,
Damn,
it's
dude.
just having weird downstream effects. I'm not saying it'll happen. Just be ready. Have a little extra set aside just in case if you can. But if not, get creative.
Yeah. I mean, it's a concern, but whatever. At this point, I just want to be done with this part of the process. Like
Yeah,
I'm
it's the
just,
worst part.
yeah, I'm just over it. Like I'm just at a point now where like, I just I don't care anymore about the conversations being had about prep. Like I just want to be able to be like, great, it's taken care of. We're paying you for this. I don't have to deal with it anymore. Can I get back to work? Because I got like 6 comics to draw. I got like, and it's this thing where you're paying for the wedding. So you're like, okay, I need to be able to pay for this stuff, but then you can't because you're too busy coordinating the stuff. And it's like,
Right.
so many hours on the phone and I'm like, and then it's like, I'm a professional freelancer. Like this is like I have to be sitting at my desk and working. Like I can't spend 3 days, 4 days
Yeah.
coordinating with like 3, 4, 5 vendors and like not getting stuff done. Like, and it's
Does
also
the venue have a place to cook? Does the venue have a place to cook?
no, and that's why we lost our. That's why we lost the first caterer. Because when we switched to this venue, he was like, "Oh well, if there's no kitchen, like I don't know what I'm supposed to do here."
Does the venue have electricity?
They have electricity, they just don't have a built-in kitchen, which is the.
Are they outside?
There is an indoor space, but a lot of it is outside. Yes.
I mean, worst case scenario, if you rented some electric smokers the night before, you could do all the food that way. I mean, there's things you can do. Some plug-in electric cooktops, and a propane gas range or something. There's ways to do all the food outside. But yeah, I mean, worst case, if you need to get creative about that, let me know because I've done that before. I've done fully outside events.
It's so awesome.
But
It's like
I'm just saying, if it gets desperate, let me know because there are solutions to all those
well,
problems.
this
Like,
this caterer we're talking to now, the one we're doing a tasting for on the 24th, he's actually, and guys, anybody watching this, I promise I'm not going to talk about wedding planning after a few seconds. I promise. People are probably so sick of hearing about it. Um, this guy we're talking to now, oh sorry, let me mute my phone. He's done events at this venue many times, so
okay,
he knows the deal. The restaurant, they're cool with, however, they're not gonna like pull some shit.
right.
And wow, my OBS is really acting up. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't realize that the camera switched from. Oh my
Does
god.
um does Malka do shellfish or no?
Uh, she does, but at the wedding they're gonna have to do some kosher stuff. So there's no
Sure,
shellfish. We actually wanted to do red meat, but it's just the price of it.
sure. I
Um,
was just gonna say the easiest thing to do outside is like a clam bake or lobster boil. Those are always the easiest things to do for crowds.
I cannot tell you how much I would love that. I
Yeah.
can't tell you how much I would love to be able to do that. She's trying to make it accessible to people in her family that are
Yeah,
strictly
yeah,
kosher,
yeah. I'm familiar. I'm
which
familiar.
was
I've done
yeah.
kosher stuff. I know it's only for observant people with the shellfish thing, but it's yeah. There's still stuff you can do. If it gets there, let me know and we'll brainstorm.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate that you let me talk about this so much.
Oh yeah, dude. I used to be a caterer. Like I totally like this is right in my wheelhouse. I
Yeah.
I understand the frustration. I've had to cater crazy shit in crazy places for, and find solutions to all kinds of weird problems.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I know, man. Well, I'm grateful that you let me vent about it and that
yeah, of course,
you've
dude.
got ideas. But I honestly, jokes aside, and like my venting of stress, it's fine. Everything's going well. Like it's fine.
Sure.
It's just it's just that's on our mind sometimes. But like generally, things are good. I got my suit picked out.
Nice.
It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be very very tanned. But yeah, no, things are good. I'm really excited about the work I'm doing. Like I'm just really having a great time working these days. I mean,
What's the primary thing you've been working on? What's the bulk of your time?
well, these days it goes back and forth between working on Black Mirror book two and then the Knights of Camelot series,
Hmm,
which is just like eating up my thoughts day and night, and it's just been so fun.
sure.
And like I just learned how to do basic video editing on DaVinci Resolve,
Nice.
and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to start putting together more videos and just like maybe doing some stuff. Like I was thinking about doing a series of vignettes about each of the knights of the table, and like like one-off pieces where like I was thinking, what if I do like time lapse illustration where you see the drawing happen in real time, and as it's the a voiceover is
Mhm.
just kind of describing which of the knights it is, and I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
like
that'd be cool.
you as someone who consumes YouTube media, what would be like something you'd love to see someone do? That's actually a question I wanted to ask you.
In regards to be more specific for me,
In
like,
regards to like how somebody would present like Arthurian, like okay, let's say you and I never met each other,
mhm,
and you just knew that there was a guy doing a very ambitious comic adaptation of the King Arthur legend, and you're like, I want to see what he's doing on his YouTube channel. I want to see how he's presenting this book. And
sure.
so like what would you want to see as someone who's like what would be exciting to you? I know that's a hard question to put you in a
I
position.
think a mix of making of content, like streaming the creation and the painting and the Q&A and the talking, but also I think maybe some like one-shot deep dives into the lore stuff in the world building you're doing, almost like how VaatiVidya does with the Souls games. Like,
Yeah. Oh
we're going
man.
to explore this character or this theme, and like you can show the artwork and like some of the unfinished artwork, even if you just have sketches and stuff, like explaining where this thing's coming from or what this thing is in your world or your version of this thing or how magic works in this retelling. Or but yeah, I think almost like short form or shorter form dives into almost like the yeah, the Dark Souls community stuff of like, here's what we're doing, here's what this is. um, but yeah, I think that would be cool.
So would you, when you envision this, because I'm going down two different, and I guess I could theoretically do both of these things.
Mm,
One is thinking about like doing it almost like the way Vatu Vidya does it, where he's almost in character as a narrator. Like he's
sure.
I don't have his voice, and I don't have his I don't think I'd be
That
able.
accent. It's
Yeah,
the accent. It's all the
I think
accent.
hearing a non regional American with like a generic voice is not gonna have, you know what I mean? It's not gonna have that same impact if I, but I'm gonna
Sure.
have to do it because there's a lot I want to say, and it's like I'm gonna have to try not to just be super cringe. But
Got to
something,
embrace the cringe. Got to embrace the cringe.
yeah, I mean, well, I mean, everything I do is kind of cringe in a way, so
Got to
I
embrace it. You
I got
just
to
got.
just lean into it.
Yep.
Um,
Anyway.
but something I was thinking was like kind of doing what Matthew Rhodes is doing on his YouTube channel. That seems like a really
Mhm.
good avenue. Have you seen the way he's doing his YouTube stuff?
I believe you sent me some of his stuff, but I don't know in particular what you mean specifically right now.
He's just kind of making the process of creation very transparent. So he's showing his sketches and he's telling you about the world of the story. He's doing like a lore breakdown, but then he's also being like, this is why I thought about this and this is why I want to try for this. And
Yeah, do it.
then he'll show like sketches that didn't work out. He'll be like, okay, this was my original design for this villain, but it doesn't work because it's not menacing enough or the design is just too conservative. And then he'll show the second draft and he's like, and he'll invite people on his Patreon to vote on which one they like more, things like that.
So one thing I did learn fulfilling our first and second Kickstarter
Yeah.
is that on the, so like the project based stuff is impressive to people, and they're like they like it for a different reason than they like the human stuff. So like I think a good mix of here's the project and treating it like important, and like, you know, putting it kind of on a pedestal, and like this is my book, that stuff's all important, but also the stuff that built a lot of goodwill with the audience and made a lot of people want to back us on future projects was I would live stream really really mundane shit like signing, you know, 2000 book plates. Or I would like today we're going to, here's all the books that got returned to sender, I'm just going to fix all the postage and I'm just going to live stream and talk to you guys while I do it. Or like just weird processes of doing a project that aren't the sexy stuff. Just like here's the reality of doing a project like this, and I'm gonna just, you're just gonna hang out with me while we do it. And like I don't know, that stuff made it feel weirdly more accessible to people because it was like they were part of like a team or something.
Yeah, you see, no, that's okay. So I was talking to someone else about this, and I think this person was familiar with you guys, and they had actually mentioned that same thing. And the
Hmm.
way we were talking about it, I was like, I realized because I actually didn't follow you at that point when you were doing that. Like, I think I discovered
Mhm.
you early on, and then I stumbled onto you again years later and before we met. Um, and looking back after finally seeing those, because I think you sent me some of them and they're pretty funny. Um, I think the reason that works is specifically because of the personalities that you and Dave have. Because I think
I mean,
if it was somebody else, somebody who didn't necessarily have that, like, that,
yeah.
you know, your dry humor, the charisma, like all that stuff, like I think that plays into it. And this person that I was talking to, a friend of mine, was like, you know, you probably could do that because you're pretty comfortable on camera. So if you wanted to just, you know, you're already doing streams. So if you wanted to show yourself doing the mundane parts of the process, as you know, as you put it, like I could
Yeah.
probably make a benefit because some people try that shit and it just doesn't work.
No,
Um,
I think you could totally do it. And I think it's good because it builds a core audience that feels like they're on the team with you, and it feels like
yeah,
a shared project and they're invested in it. And like one of the big things people liked the most was when we were doing the audiobook, I would stream some of the recording sessions, and like that's just being okay with being embarrassing.
I remember that.
Like
I did see that
that is
video.
some of the cringiest shit I've ever done immortalized on the internet. But like people hung out for like 5 hours with just watching me on video sweating in a little tiny recording booth, screaming into a microphone. And like you get to see all the outtakes, you get to see all the breaks, you get to see all the laughter, you get to see stuff that gets changed on the fly. Like I'm not saying do an audiobook, I'm just saying show the process of don't be afraid to be embarrassing. Just like people are very forgiving about that stuff.
But people are actually quite nice in a lot of cases. That they actually enjoy seeing you vulnerable, not so they can make fun of you. In a lot of cases, they enjoy it because they want to like assure you that it's fine. That's what I've been noticing. Um,
Yeah, 100%.
but I remember that video. I remember I remember all the times you were like, "Oh, it's gonna be a long night."
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of those. And yeah, people are very forgiving about that stuff, and they enjoy watching it. And it also helps people realize, I think, that it's not so, like making a project is hard, but it's not as hard as people make it out to be. Because when you see somebody, a lot of people feel like that you have to be a certain amount of talented to get a thing done. They don't realize how much failure and learning goes into it along the way. And when they see people doing stuff on the fly and just kind of working through problems in real time, they kind of realize like, oh, I could probably do more than I'm thinking I can. And I don't know, it helps a lot of people, I think, come to terms with the fact that they can achieve more than they think they can.
Well, I mean, you're right because when I saw you doing that years ago, it made me realize I could probably do something like that. You know.
Yeah, it's a lot of people just assume that when they see something good and it's done, that it just was good from the beginning, and I
Yeah.
can't do that because I'm not good. And like when you show them the process of like, no, a lot of rough edges have to be hewn to get down to this thing. It's like it's less intimidating. It's like, oh, okay, makes people more okay being creative. But yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah,
know, because I appreciate you talking about this because something, you know, as I know you're um, a big fan of the Arthurian legend, and like we've talked about it a lot, and something that I think a lot of people don't know because nobody's shown them that
yeah,
history is not this dusty old boring book. History is dynamic, it's exciting,
Hmm.
it's you know, it's sexy, it's dangerous, it's got like all the elements of great suspense and drama and like inspiration like can all be found in like that. The approach I've been taking with how I want to market the comic is like
Mm.
King Arthur's like this is heavy metal, you know?
Dude, two of the most acclaimed directors in the field are making adaptations of the Odyssey right now.
Yeah.
Like, you can do King Arthur and make it cool. Like, if they can do that, like that's older than King Arthur. That's like, yeah, 100%. You can make it cool.
Well, so I've been listening, because I agree with you. I've been listening to a few different podcasts on writing, and it's come up like 3 or 4 times where they're talking about this, and they're like, somebody needs to do a King Arthur adaptation. Like somebody absolutely,
Mhm.
and it just keep it's like in the air. Like people are like
Yeah,
somebody's has to like they were like writers, they need to like do a faithful, um, at least faithful in its nature of and I was like, yeah, it's like it feels like people are asking for it pretty plainly, Sorry, what were we
a
gonna
lot
say?
of people, a lot of people use King Arthur as the lube for another idea,
That's
and they
ex-
keep doing that, and it's very, very weird. It's like, we're gonna do King Arthur, but it's in service of Hellboy, and then they make that new Hellboy movie, and they're like, we're gonna do King Arthur, but it's in service of making our own Game of Thrones. Then they make that Camelot show that lasted like one season. A lot of people are like, well, people know King Arthur, but we don't want to do King Arthur, so we're just gonna make this other thing and kind of use King Arthur as the lubrication to kind of get it in there. Like,
that's
that's not,
really
it's
funny.
not good. I don't know. It's very weird. It's
Okay,
just people.
can
Yeah.
I use that quote, please? Because
Yes.
maybe
100%.
my first rant video will be called "King Arthur is not your lubricant."
Yeah, because people do it all the time. It's shocking
Yeah.
how many times I've seen it done. Even that King Arthur movie with Keira Knightley was trying to be, what the fuck was it trying to be? There was another thing it was ripping
Oh,
off.
with Clive Owen.
Yeah, there was another movie that they were very obviously trying to just ride on the coattails
It
of.
felt like it. I mean, it felt like it wanted to be a Ridley Scott sword and sandal movie.
Yeah, it was, fuck, it wasn't 300, I don't think. There was something else that came out around the time and all the marketing was like very ripping it off, but I can't remember what it was.
I actually felt like
But
it was trying to be Batman Begins in some ways, but I know.
actually, yeah,
Um,
yeah, you're probably correct.
but I think that you were thinking of something else. But it just felt like it was so hard. It was so in that early 2000s period of like, it's the
We're gonna make it
real
real,
version. Yeah, this is and it's
real and grounded.
so
Ooh, it's real and grounded. Oh,
it's a
I
king.
bet you didn't think King Arthur was possible, but it is.
Yeah. Do
Like,
you remember the trailer for the movie? I remember the trailer where they do like a fake where like, oh, he was a real king who lived more than 1,000 years ago, and the historians have. This is the narrator in the trailer saying historians have found that it was real, and this is the real story of it.
real.
And it's like they're just making that up completely.
Yeah, the real story of King Arthur. Yeah, it's finally the veil can be lifted on the true story, and it's like, stop,
Yeah.
stop it.
What did you
But
think of
yeah,
the
it's
movie?
there's stuff in it I like. I like their
Same.
version of Merlin. I like a lot of the costume design. Um, I I I like the portrayal of the villain. The actors having a lot of fun. I don't love the villain. There's not enough magic in it. There's not enough mystic stuff. There's like the problem with going grim dark. We're gonna do the real gritty King Arthur. Ooh, you're gonna be cleaning your fingernails after this movie. It's so gritty. It's like, no, like I don't know. It needs a little touch of the whimsy. It needs a little touch of, needs a little bit of magic for me, because I'm very of the school of King Arthur's a metaphor for the transition from the pagan religions into Christendom, and without the weird magical god stuff there,
Hmm.
it doesn't have that little flavor to me. It needs that flavor to work for me. I need that
Yeah.
old world clashing with new world thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think so. I remember the movie pretty clearly, and there's parts of it similar to you. There's parts of it that I really like, but I also feel like um, they really uh, alter the timeline in a way that is kind of interesting, but it's just so far from what I would want it. Like, do you remember that they make him a Roman soldier,
Yep.
which I thought was interesting because the fall of Rome is such a huge part of that story. But I do like this idea that they were going for, where it's like Arthur is basically like watching Rome fall and Britain rise, and so that's where he like becomes a king in that time.
And there's
Um,
that theory that Excalibur is supposed to be what's it called, Caliburn or something, some famous Roman sword that they like adapted into the Excalibur story. There's a bunch of Roman stuff you can pull from for
I
sure.
thought Caliburn was the Celtic name.
Maybe it is the Celtic name. There's a Roman sword that Excalibur supposedly was pulling from that they adapted, and I can't remember the name of it, but there
Oh,
is one. It's a real sword. But
that's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
yeah, I don't know. I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, lots of things backdoor a different idea and use King Arthur as a vehicle to do it because
Yeah.
everyone knows King Arthur and also it's public domain.
Well, it's also there's this weird thing where it's like everybody knows it, but you know that story is not as cool as the one we're going to use it for. Um, like that's
Yeah.
kind of the attitude that they have. Also, the what you just mentioned, the Hellboy thing. I haven't
Mm.
seen the recent movie, but the I'm in the middle of reading the exact comic that it's based on, where he
There are a lot of King Arthur in that comic.
say what?
I'm guessing there's a lot of King Arthur in that comic.
There is. It's very Mike Mignola, like the tomb, like the skeletal remains of Arthur are kind of a character that they keep showing. Um,
Oh, okay.
and it's beautifully done. Like, remember you showed the crown? Remember we were talking about crown designs,
Yep.
and you were like, that is the perfect one. And it's like it's really good. Like when the way it's featured in the comic, it does a really good job of creating mystique around it, and showing the timeline of like why Hellboy is actually the descendant of Arthur, and like how do you justify that, and it actually works pretty well.
That's cool.
Like the whole idea, you know, I don't want to get into the lore too deeply now, but they do a lot of time justifying it, and it's very well done. Um, but it definitely was like one of those situations where I started being like, man, if somebody just put this same energy into just adapting the
Yeah.
legend itself and making it awesome, because it's all, you know, um, like the way I'm pitching it, you know, and it's thankfully I don't have to pitch it to publishers anymore, but it's like, you know, because I'm going to do it myself. But it's so
Yeah.
weird to see like it's been ripe for so many years to do it, because Game of Thrones was popular and Marvel Comics was popular. I mean,
Yeah.
Marvel movies rather, and like so you have something, you have literally a public domain popular story that people already know, and it's public domain,
Yep.
and it's both a superhero story, that you can kind of give it a little veneer of like classics, you know, of like your early 2000s, mid 2000s superhero movie, and it's also got that Game of Thrones medieval, like it's all there. You can have all the genres
Yeah.
mixed in. You could have a huge audience, and people just like won't do it. They just like, um,
People are like weirdly afraid of it because so many people have grabbed it because it's public domain that
mhm,
by default a lot of people that don't want to spend money have adapted it. So
yeah,
it's a lot of the adaptations have bombed
sure,
because as a result of the people doing it only to pinch pennies and not because they were like, I don't know if you ever watched like the Stars or it was either Stars or Showtime, the fucking Camelot show. I think only had one season with like the bald young King Arthur and I'm no sorry, the bald young Merlin and like fucking Eva Green is Morgan Le Fay, who actually did a great job. That was really good casting.
yeah. That's
But
I've heard it's good.
everybody else in the show fucking sucks. Like real
I
bad.
never
And
saw
like
it.
they're just
Yeah.
oh man, it's not good. And they're just trying to be Game of Thrones and it has no soul at all. And like after something like that comes out and it's on like a big network and it bombs, then the whole name recognition of the IP is like it's sort of like Chernobyl. Like don't go there for so many years. Like it's not good.
It's like Chernobyl.
Like yeah, and then everybody just avoids it because the show bombed. It's not because people don't like the source material. It's because the adaptation was done for poor reasons and the quality was
Well,
bad.
that's the
But
same thing that happened with the Guy Ritchie app. Did you just see the his?
oh god, Legend of the Sword. I did not see it.
I was so disappointed with it. I was like, how?
I didn't
Why?
see it.
It
My friend Danica said not to see it. I said
don't
okay.
don't. It is so. It has almost nothing to do with the actual story. Like they
Yeah,
just he basically does Robin Hood and calls it King Arthur, which is like, why is Guy Ritchie not doing Robin Hood? He would be perfect for that. Um,
yep.
but I think one of the reasons he didn't do it is because we had a Robin Hood movie by Ridley Scott, which was only a few years before that, and it's funny because Ridley Scott should be doing King Arthur. You know,
It's true.
um,
Ridley Scott in 1979 should be doing King Arthur. I'll
oh my
put a little
god,
caveat on that.
yeah. But then
But
wow, but then you wouldn't have Borman's Excalibur,
it's true.
which is like
Was that the last like flawless adaptation?
honestly, in my opinion, that's the only truly great adaptation. I mean,
Yeah,
like there's been other versions that have been pretty good. Like the one with Clive Owen has some merit. It's an entertaining movie.
yeah,
The movie First Night is like, you know, the costumes all look like Star Trek uniforms, but
yeah. It was so weird.
the movie has
Uh,
there's some moments that actually have some pretty sharp writing in the script.
sure.
And I think as an old Arthur, Sean Connery is, you know, you can do a lot worse.
Yeah,
Richard
yeah,
Gere is a little bit insufferable in parts of that movie, but
yeah. That was weird casting. That was very much like Who's Hot Right Now.
no, that's exactly what that was. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
literally like he had just done. This is a few years after what Officer and a Gentleman or something or Pretty Woman,
yeah,
but
yeah.
sometime before he got a gerbil stuck in his butt.
Weird casting.
But and I think okay, in my opinion, that casting was facilitated by Kevin Costner as Robin Hood. Like
Oh yeah, sure.
that
Because that
made that
movie
shit
did
possible.
money. Yeah,
Yeah, which
just
is
so
which
funny.
is in my opinion a far superior movie to First Night. I like First Night; it's fun. But
Yeah,
I really
yeah,
like the Costner movie with, you know, with Morgan Freeman. And it's funny because that's an instance where that character is not in the book, Morgan Freeman's character in the Robin Hood story,
yeah.
but he's great in the movie. Like the movie just kind of works better with him, in my opinion.
Gross Girl. Not only have I seen the Sam Neill Merlin TV show, it is one of my favorite Camelot adaptations. It's not perfect at all, but there are some things in there that I really love. I love their Lady of the Lake. I love the idea that Queen Mab, who I believe is a Shakespearean creation, getting involved as like the weird like fairy queen who's like going to war with like Christendom. I like that whole angle. I really like the portrayal of Camelot. I love that Mordred is just comically evil, chewing the scenery. Oh, mother, dying is the last thing I'll do. He's just, I love that they use magical shenanigans. This is actually one of my favorite things they do in that movie, which I think they kind of hinted at. I think they kind of hinted at it in a Borman's Excalibur, but it's not explicit. One of the things they do in the Sam Neill one is Queen Mab influences Arthur to have sex with Morgan and create an incest baby who's destined to kill him and become the king. And she doesn't want to wait because she's worried that everyone's going to move on to Christianity. So she wants to speed things up. So she makes, through magical means, she makes Mordred grow faster. So essentially, he's a 20-year-old with like the health and strength of a 20-year-old, but he's got the mind of like a greedy child who never got to grow up. And I love that idea that he's like a kid who pulls in like the wings off insects, but he's in the body of a man.
It's
And it's like
terrifying.
it's very scary. It's very, very
It's such
scary
a
and a really
terrifying
cool.
idea. Yeah, of like
Yeah,
someone who's
yeah,
so powerful physically and like has no idea like how awful and scary they are. Or they do, but they're kind of enjoying the power because it's still new to them,
yeah.
you know?
Reality like doesn't exist. I really like that Merlin show really spends time exploring that everything that happens is kind of Merlin's fault. I like that weird angle where like he helps Uther seduce what's his name's wife,
Oh,
uh Igraine.
Igraine, yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea, and it really leans into him doing that really fucked over Morgan, and it creates this feud with her and like the revenge angle and like everything being Arthur's fault of meddling, and like you can't help yourself. You have to get involved, and it's just making everything worse for everybody. I really like that angle.
Well, I
Um
really like that because I like the idea that the real power of Merlin is that he kind of plays chess with reality in order to get
yeah,
like what he thinks is a good outcome. He's willing to, you know, because it's like if you're someone living eons, the
yeah.
likelihood that you see people as sort of temporary fixtures and it's very easy for you to appeal to the greater
Mhm.
good, quote unquote, like you could see that happening and it makes him an interesting flawed character.
Yeah,
um, you know, and still likable and benevolent because he's trying to do the right thing, but he's also like, you know, and it also shows, but for all his wisdom, there's gaps in Merlin's wisdom because he thinks in terms of the long game, and as a result, people get hurt in the short game. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, yeah, I like
They
that a lot.
weirdly like they like talk about the humans the way like humans talk about dogs, where it's like, yeah, I love them, but like I'll just get another one. And it's like, oh, like whoa, like
Yeah,
a lot of that weird, gross, like it's very, very I like how it leans into the supernatural stuff, and I like the way it handles the supernatural stuff.
as I've been writing it, I've been wondering if it's maybe wise to write Merlin somewhat similar to um, the Reverend Mother in the first Dune movie, where she's like testing Paul and being like, if it's not you, we can get someone else. But you know,
Sure.
um, I've been debating if that's the right approach or not because I want him to be mysterious and stuff, but it's also like I don't know. Do I want to hit that same note, you know, in the same way, or do I want to? I mean, he would be different because it's like she, you know, the Reverend Mother represents this like scorpion femininity, you know, as
Mhm,
which is why when she's holding the Ganjuba to his neck, that little dagger, if you look at her
mhm.
hand, it takes the shape of a scorpion.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
really
that's a
cool. The
cool
way her fingers
detail.
perched upward is like a scorpion tail, and that was something Villeneuve like kept stressing is that he wanted you to feel that it was like she represents the dangerous feminine of like the part of, you know, the idea of like because a scorpion has a kind of, you know, it's a beautiful feminine shape, right? It's got like a kind
Mhm,
of, but it's super deadly, and it's, you know, and it's the idea that like the feminine danger hides itself. It's like much more subtle. So
sure.
he keeps hitting the scorpion thing, and I was like, that's really cool. With Merlin, obviously, I like the idea of Merlin in his own way being quite deadly, but it's not because he represents an obvious physical danger. It's more like he's just. It's like I when you know when I'm working on the script. And also, do you mind me talking about this? Is this okay that I'm
No, go ahead,
as
please.
I'm working on the script? I really got into this idea of like whenever Merlin, you know, when before Arthur is a grown up, when he's being taken care of by Ector and Kay and stuff. I kept thinking that whenever Merlin appears in this village, which will later be Camelot, everybody's like, "Oh shit, it's the druid!" Like everybody, like, don't look him directly in the eye. Be careful what you say to him. You know, like people are scared of him.
Yeah,
Um, and it's like some people there know him and they know they like him and he's cool and everything, but also they're like, do not cross him. Like, you know, then like the thing they keep telling, they're like prepping Arthur to talk to him, and they're like, don't lie to him because if you do, he'll know. You know,
right,
and like that's
right.
kind of the approach I'm taking is like if you don't know him, you better respect the power that's there because you don't even know, you can't even put a finger on what that power is. Um,
Right.
yeah, but
There's also the angle some people play with. I don't know if you're leaning into this or not.
tell me.
There's also the angle that Arthur and Merlin have probably had the conversations multiple times because Merlin has probably gone back in time multiple times,
Oh
and
yeah,
he keeps fucking up and not being able to figure out how to do it to the point where he's like start to lose the plot a little bit.
which conversation?
Um, I've seen adaptations and I can't remember which ones. I want to say there was an adaptation where Merlin and Arthur have a conversation, and I think Merlin smiles and says that was faster than the last time.
That's great.
And I'm like, oh, you've been coming back and trying to like figure out where you went wrong with like training him multiple times to try and get it right. You've done it so many times that you've started to like lose it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I
It's not a multiverse, it's linear time. He goes back and like, okay, this time I'm not going to make that mistake, and then a different mistake happened. Okay, I'm going to go this time, I won't make those two mistakes, and then another mistake. Okay, and like, yeah, it's that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean that's I am taking a similar approach in that, you know, because the idea that Merlin has done this before and will do it again is something I really
Mm,
like. What I'm trying to do is so you know how they refer to different Arthur stories as cycles.
yes.
The whole idea is that there's that I'm playing with is that the different Arthurian cycles of the different versions of the story are largely just Merlin's perception.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So
that's good.
it's like one cycle was like one of his attempts, and then which is why the story. I think I might have told you this. So I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but the first volume is actually going to be the Battle of Camlin. That's why every time I post art for it, it's just like old Arthur cutting people up, and it's because
Mhm.
the whole idea is that I want to start with the last battle because I'm showing this is the end of the classic cycle, and then Merlin kind of begins a new cycle. And then the new
Right.
cycle, I'm kind of prepping the audience for like, yeah, this is going to be this. I'm telling you the story, but it's going to be a little different this time because every cycle is a little different. So that means I'm giving you this. I'm giving you the Battle of Camlin, right? You're getting the classic version where they confront each other in the fields of Camlin, or in my version, it's the ruins of Camlin because I wanted to put some structure in there.
Mhm.
But then afterwards, like the new cycle, things might be different. The battle at the end might be different. The designs of the characters are going to change because it's like, you know, a slightly different version of it. I'm not trying to do a multiverse per se because I don't really care for that
Yeah.
trope, but
It's
you know,
time is a flat circle. You can go back and forwards, but it's a circle.
yeah, that's a great way to
It
put it.
doesn't branch out like a spider web. It's just a circle, and you can kind of rewind the record or fast
Yes,
it forward.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. And because I don't, I think that the multiverse thing kind of ends up cheapening stories because you're like, oh,
it
this,
does.
you know,
It doesn't matter if that character died because they're alive somewhere else.
and they can be a
It's
cameo
like,
in your other movie.
yeah, it's like who cares? Boo.
Boo.
Boo. Get rid of that shit. It's
Yeah.
so fucking cringe and boring.
It's really, and it's so obvious and transparent when they do it sometimes that it's just like, oh, we have a chance for cameos, you know.
Mhm. Which is a shame that they're leaning into it even harder, but we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see what happens.
Well, I know that they're in Marvel, they're going to be doing more multiverse stuff, but the Spider-Man
Boy,
movie,
I didn't think after they announced Robert Downey Jr. being Doctor Doom that they would announce that all the Fox X-Men actors from the 2000 film are going to come back for that movie. I did not see that in the cards. So now I went from kind of excited to kind of scared.
yeah. Why? What do you predict they're going to be doing?
I don't think we need to see James Marsden and all those people dressed up as their X-Men characters from 25 years ago fighting Doctor Doom just to sell a multiverse. I think you can cast new actors and just make your own multiverses inside your MCU if you have to do that. I wouldn't do the multiverse shit at all. But just because the Fox movies exist, it doesn't mean you have to make them canon in your new thing just because people are familiar with them. I think that's like a weird pandering kind of cash grabby thing that I think only cheapens it. It works in something like Deadpool and Wolverine because it's a joke. It's like you're making fun of the Fox IP and you're making fun of the fact that the audience knows that Marvel bought it, and like you're kind of shitting on it, like you're throwing in all the characters that bombed and didn't work, and like that works in a comedy context. In a serious context with stakes, I don't think you should canonize that stuff in your new thing. I think it cheapens it, makes it weird and strange. And like they had an opportunity to just build out the X-Men IP and just do the good version of it that everybody's been wanting for a long time.
Yeah.
But now you automatically can't because you're bringing in all this baggage from the other thing and you're saying that it's real in your universe. And it's like, okay, well now who fucking cares? Like if they're in there and we know that they exist in this universe, then anything you're going to do building your own team and your own stuff has no stakes anymore. Like it's already ruined. It's very, very weird. But yeah, I don't know why
Well,
they chose to do it.
I
But
just I don't understand why they wouldn't. The only thing I can think of is that they know that they have like, you know, they could earn a few million recasting it with new actors playing X-Men, or they could earn an easy billion through nostalgia, even if that
yeah,
nostalgia only lasts for one movie.
yeah. I mean, that's essentially what I think it's going to be. It's just a nostalgia kind of cash grab
Yeah.
thing. I think the Spider-Man movie they did where Toby and Andrew came back
Mhm.
was so successful that they were like, "Oh, we just got to do this again." It feels like a very corporate decision as opposed to, what I think everybody thought they were going to do and what they probably should have done for long-term success is after your Infinity Saga wraps up and Thanos is done, you kind of drop all those characters and you go start a new saga and okay, we're going to introduce this character with a solo standalone, this character, this character, this character, build a new team, create a new threat, repeat the formula that got you there in the first place, and let us grow with another cast of characters over time. But I want to say because they went to the multiverse stuff, it was just too confusing and people couldn't follow it, and they just had a lot of stuff bomb, and now they're like, okay, well, we can't be in the black. I mean, we can't be in the red. We got to have some surefire hits, and the only way to do that is nostalgia cash grabs. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like that's what's happening because they've been their ratio of hits to failures has been pretty shocking.
Yeah. I mean, the Fantastic Four trailer just dropped, the new one
Oh, did it?
today. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I gotta watch that.
You'll probably really like the trailer. It's good.
I have high hopes. I have
Yeah.
high hopes. I will say the that new Daredevil series, the episodes that were written by the new team are all really, really weird. And the episodes that were written by the Netflix team, I guess Kevin Feige fired his team and brought back the original writers. All the stuff that they wrote is shockingly good. I was like, oh, this is like a show I'd love to watch, but it's only 3 of the 9 episodes.
Oh, wait. So, like, the first half of it was written by the crappy group?
Not even the first half. The Kevin Feige fired the Netflix people and brought in his new Marvel writers, and they wrote a series and they filmed the whole series. And then Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio were like, "This is not good. We don't want to be part of this, and we're not going to come back for season 2." So then I guess what happened was Kevin Feige brought in the people that wrote Daredevil season 1, 2, and 3,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, "What can you do with this amount of money to save this season?" They reshot a new pilot. They wrote so episode 1 is entirely the new people, um, and then the last 2 episodes were shot by them, and then everything in the middle, those 6 episodes between episode 1 and then 8 and 9, all of those are written by a different team, and you can feel it. It's really, really weird. But all the stuff that's written by the Netflix people they brought back is really, really good. Those last 2 episodes were great.
Wow. I didn't know that.
It's
I knew that they had fired, they had brought in some of the old, I didn't know that I didn't know that they had rehired the people from the original.
Yeah, they brought him back because I guess Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio and everybody involved was like, "This is not a good show, and we don't think this is really not looking good." So they retooled it, and they already, I guess, one of the terms of the agreement to bring them back was to automatically greenlight a season 2. So they're already filming a second season of it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool.
Wait, they were filming a second season of it before the first one wrapped up because they're trying to course correct as hard as possible.
Well, I mean,
Um,
yeah, like the sense I get, because the ratings have been bad, like people are just not
yeah,
watching it, and I think a
yeah,
lot of that is because people are so suspicious and weary of Marvel that they're waiting for the season to be over because they're like, I want to know, because I am literally one of those people that's like, I'm waiting for it to be over to hear a general
yep.
review of it, whether or not it's worth my time, because at this point I just don't trust them to not.
Episodes 1, 8, and 9 are great, and everything in the middle is kind of like, what are we doing? Like, what is this?
What's your main criticism of the bad episodes? Or actually, what's all your criticism of it? Doesn't have to be your. You can give me all
The
of it.
bad episodes are struggling with tone. The tone is really weird, and what the stakes are is really weird. I won't, in case you watch it, I won't say what the twist is at the end for what the like Wilson Fisk's big plan is. It's probably the coolest thing they've done with him, like in any adaptation I've seen. I was like, oh, this is a very good idea. This is a very good idea that has legs that you could do for a couple of years, and it would be really solid. Um,
Mm.
it's strange. So the episodes that suck, there's a weird tone thing where it's very serious and we're trying to be like a very serious show and talk about big themes. But then I think because they were given a mandate to broaden out the universe and make it so this is taking place in the MCU where superheroes are now a thing, it almost leans into that unintentionally. It leans into almost like the She-Hulk humor where like you're in a courtroom and now he has to defend, some B-list hero no one knows about, like White Tiger. And after a big long speech he gives about the soul of the city and losing people you love and of person's brutal death, suddenly he's in a courtroom and he's like, "Your Honor, without his magical amulet, the White Tiger can't summon his powers, and as you know, without his chi powers." And it's like, what is this? Like, this is so goofy. Like, it almost comes off as like comedy. It's very strange. And then, like, I don't know, they introduce a love interest he has no chemistry with at all. And they do the weird tired plot we've seen in 10,000 other things where it's like, uh-oh, he's dating a therapist. It's Batman Forever all over again.
Oh
He's dating a therapist.
no!
What if the therapist? It's literally that.
What if the
Yeah. What if the
therapist figures it
therapist
out?
finds out about his alter ego? Yeah, like, and then, guess who needs marriage counseling? It's Wilson Fisk at the therapist's office. Daredevil and Wilson Fisk have the same therapist. It's like, oh, what are we? This is This is so tired. Like
That's
this
really
is so
stupid.
tired.
That after The Sopranos, they needed to retire the whole therapist as a plot point.
Yeah, having a therapist talk about like the id and the ego when people put on masks, and it's like this is so on the nose, and I've heard it 50,000 times. Like, are we really doing this? And then the other weird thing is the whole season they set up like Muse, the fucking Rorschach-looking serial killer guy, and they're like, this is going to be the big bad. Muse is dealt with in one episode.
Great.
Muse shows up. Muse shows up and is dead in the same episode.
That's actually hilarious. That's actually really funny.
It feels like the best analogy I can give for what this season felt like is you want to go to a water park and you get to the water park and you can see the line and you're like, ooh, that line's really long. Maybe we'll go to the go-karts. And then you turn around and you go to the go-karts and you go, ooh, you know what? It's kind of hot out. Maybe we don't. Maybe we'll go fishing. And then you change direction again. So the show's like, okay, we're gonna do Bullseye. The show's about Bullseye. And then they go, okay, Bullseye is gone. Maybe it's about Wilson Fisk and his wife. Okay, you know what? Actually, it's going to be about Muse. Let's do that for like an episode. Actually, you know what? Let's go back to Will's. Actually, you know what? Let's just do Bullseye. That's literally what the show does. It like cycles what the story is like 4 times. And
that's terrible.
It's very weird. But yeah, I don't know. That's my main criticism is it doesn't know what it's doing. It doesn't know what tone it's going for. And it can't choose one story. It's jumping between like 4 different stories at the same time.
Just want to address the chat. Apparently people can hear my notifications of my Discord.
Oh.
And Edgar says, Ryan, we love you, buddy, but we can hear all the ladies DMing you on Discord. I actually haven't been able to hear the notifications. So I think my Discord was open, but the noise isn't coming up in the stream for me. So I quit my Discord. I closed it. So hopefully you guys don't have to hear all of the dozens and dozens of women that DM me every day.
Yeah, hopefully not.
I mean, but going back to what you were saying, listen, everybody, I dated a therapist and I'm marrying her and she still doesn't know any of my worst secrets. So that trope is nonsense. Yeah.
And you're a boxer. You are Daredevil.
Shh, quiet.
Oh no.
Quiet, keep yo, be cool.
He's Daredevil, guys. He's Daredevil season 4, dating a therapist. Oh my goodness.
And I'm totally slightly nearsighted.
There you go. It's all there.
Did you see in your stream people were like doing a Ryan impression? They were like, oh, back when I was a boxing coach, they started and I was like,
the disrespect.
I know.
The disrespect.
Yo, none of y'all will say that shit to my face. Let me say that right now.
I do think it was very funny. One thing they put in this season that I think is really great is the Punisher's back and he's like great. He's like some of the best writing for the Punisher in anything they've done.
Yeah.
And the thing he's going after is cops that use the Punisher symbol. That's his thing, is like cops that go over the line and murder people and like wear the Punisher symbol. He's like, my fanboys, I gotta kill all my fanboys. I'm like, it's a very funny angle to do.
Well,
that's very, very,
that's what you call a modern dayism. They needed to,
yes,
because
they needed to.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's because of apparently there's some dialogue around creeps online using the Punisher symbol, and it means some kind of white supremacist thing.
Let me tell you, they break that fourth wall so many ways, which is a shame because that stuff is cringe. But the writing for Frank is really, really good. I don't know if it's just that actor or if it's the writers they brought in from the old show, but he's got some great stuff.
Apparently, John Barenthal is an absolute miser about making sure that the character is written well, which I appreciate.
That's good.
He has said and has been reported as he sees himself as like the guardian of that character, and it's like, so he's rejected scripts before and been like, no, I don't like this, do it again. You know, like he's just
also like for Disney, some of the most brutal shit I've ever seen on a TV. Like I was like, this is crazy that this is Disney. Like this is nuts.
Yeah, almost to the point where it seemed like from the trailer, I was like, are they compensating?
Kind of, yeah. The way he kills some people in this is wild.
Like they're like, we have to show that we can. We're one of the boys. We can do it. You know.
Trust us.
Yeah. I mean, I listen. I get it. I get the need to do that. I'm not going to pretend like that it's, you know, I'm gonna sit here and act like I would do it differently. Like if I was Disney, if I was working for that company and we needed to show that we could hang with the original show and like that we could,
Yeah.
I would probably, you know, mandate that the trailers had to show some pretty intense violence to get people to understand, like, you know, we're not gonna. I feel like it's hard to see another way to like, you know, to show that to your audience that you're not gonna nerf the whole thing. But
I mean, it gives me some hope for future stuff they're doing that after shooting a whole season instead of releasing it, Kevin Feige was like, "Oh, you know what? This is bad. Let's fix it."
yes, I
Or
agree.
at least try to fix it. Like that's a good sign at least. So I don't know. I'd love for them to get back on track, but man, they've had a lot of L's thrown their way.
Yeah, yeah,
But
they've had a rough couple of years. Snow White,
uh,
apparently, I mean, I have no plans in watching
oof,
Snow White, but I heard it was like a fucking train
oof.
wreck. I
Yeah,
heard
I
it
heard
was.
it was just the worst thing ever from what I've heard.
So some of the someone was talking about how like the 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 movie's attempted messaging, like the political messaging, has reached a point of like insane parody where they're talking about like the movie tries to uh, push the message of like, you know, and I'm not against this message, but just the idea of like anti-greed and like, you know, with like, I mean, they have more of like a socialist bend, but people were like, you're pushing that in the same story where a woman's about to become queen of everyone, and you're talking about
Oh, let's
equality.
think. Okay, so if me and you are hacks and we get hired by Disney to adapt Snow White into a movie about greed, what do we do? This is a really fun thought experiment.
Well,
Um,
you do a lot of what they did, which is I would say you create a new Snow White character where she is basically like all about redistributing, like I don't want to say redistributing wealth because that's overtly political, but I would say like the idea that she's anti-greed and anti uh, power hierarchies, and she's going to show that by becoming the fucking queen.
oh, okay. So what is she redistributing?
She's like, you know, well, the queen as she is now, the bad queen, she's really greedy. So like when I'm
Mm.
queen, I'll take care of everybody, and like everybody will be equal.
Oh,
Everybody will
see,
be equal except for me because I'm still the queen.
in my mind, if I'm a hack and I'm given this task on this IP, I go, those dwarves have a gold mine. They're miners. They go mining and they find diamonds and gold. Maybe, maybe the queen finds out about their gold mine and goes to steal all their gold and jewels. And like
Yeah,
somehow Snow White gets involved and fights for the little man, literally, because they're
yeah.
little men. Get it? Like I don't know. This oh boy.
Well, have you
What a
did you hear anything about it? Because some of the stuff is really amazing. Like there's apparently, so the you know how they originally weren't going to have the dwarves and it was going to be like the seven bandits or whatever.
seven fearsome individuals. Yeah, no, I have no
It
idea.
was going to be
I heard rumors. Yeah.
yeah, it was going to be like you know, that famously bad picture of those actors in like the cheap Halloween costumes.
Mhm.
Essentially, they're in the movie, so because they didn't want to cut those people out of the movie, so they have both the seven dwarves, they're CGI, and then they have another group of seven people that are like the seven
What?
bandits. Yeah, and she comes across them at a separate part of the story. And the origin of those characters who are like they're the rebels against the queen, this is real. This is not me embellishing. This is what I was told is actually in the
Oh,
movie by multiple
so
sources. I haven't
bad.
seen it.
Tell me.
They're seven out of work actors that because the queen, the evil queen, has had such strict like she's damaged the economy because she's so corrupt and evil. The actors can't get work, so all these actors become bandits.
Oh my god.
So like,
I love it. I love it so now I want to see it.
well, that
You're making me want to see it
it.
because it sounds so bad. It's good.
I just like why would you make them actors? Like why would you do that? There's so many people that suffer under a corrupt medieval regime in a fairy tale. Why would you make them out of work actors? And someone was reviewing the movie and they were like, I work in Hollywood. Actors are out of work in all economies. It has nothing to do with the queen. I was like, that's really
Oh
funny.
my god.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm outlawing satirical plays that make fun of my new whatever. I'm the evil queen. Like I can, yeah.
Oh, you
Oh
see, even
boy.
that might be more thoughtful than what they did. honestly.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of ways to do it. Like, oh man. And the actors, the obvious thing you would do if you don't want to put dwarves in the movie and have them be actors is have the dwarves dress up and pretend. I mean, have the actors pretend to be dwarves in some kind of weird subterfuge thing. And
Oh,
then I don't like that instead of just adding 7 actors and then also another 7 dwarves, like
yeah. How
you
amazing
guys are
is
going to
that?
dress up as dwarves and pretend to be miners, and people are going to hear about the dwarves mining gold, and we'll lure the queen out here in the woods, and then we can overthrow her. Like that would be what I would think they would do. Is like we're going to pretend to be dwarves because we're such good actors.
That's a
We're going
really
to
good
wear
idea.
cool prosthetics, and that way we can have our cake and eat it too. And like, no, oh boy,
That's actually a really good idea. If they were just like that, they pretend to be dwarves, so you get that version in there of like yeah. You see, that's but the problem here is a problem,
yeah,
Dan. That idea is a little too good. You got to pull it back a little bit.
got to dumb it down a little bit.
Yeah, what are you doing? That's too clever. You got to think the way a person would think who is was hired because they knew somebody who worked there,
True.
and because they're capable of the least offensive ideas. Yeah, that's I don't know. I feel like it's
Apparently,
too clever.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's too clever. It's too you can't have too many clever things happen in the movie because it has to translate across multiple nations. Like they have to be able to digest it
True.
in China, even if the translation and the localization are off. It's like literally what I think is happening. Sorry, but go on.
I'm just trying to think of like what man, I'm just trying to think of what the goal even is for this movie. Like what audience are you trying to appeal to?
Well,
Like
okay,
what
that was a part of the critique. Someone said like, you know, this woman she's a writer, she's watching the movie, and she's a writer, she's an editor, and she's like, the first thing I think of as a professional editor of books is what audience is this for? And she's
Yeah.
like, and I'm watching this movie and I have no idea what this movie even wants to say or who it wants to say it to. Like I have no
Because
idea.
like much like we talked about earlier with people using King Arthur as like lube to like get another idea out there. Like
I love
a
that.
lot of people do that with a lot of things and it works sometimes, but you have to know what your audience is and what message you're trying to get to them. Like Wicked is a really good example of like we're going to use the Wizard of Oz, people know what it is, and we're going to use that as lube to critique the George W. Bush administration and Iraq.
Lube.
We're going to do that, and it's going to, we're going to write some really great songs. We're going to like it's Wicked is overtly political and it knows exactly what its audience and its message is, and it like that's why you can pull it off. But if you don't have a target and you don't like what are they trying to use Snow White to do? Because on the one hand, you could use it as a backdoor way to criticize something and make a statement that could work if that's your goal. But then the movie's not for kids really anymore. Or you could just make a kids movie that appeals to kids and try to recapture the magic of the original, which is what they probably should have done. But then you don't appeal to adults as much. I don't
Yeah.
know, like who's the audience? Like you got to kind of pick one.
Well, obviously, you make the movie called Snow White: A Tale of Terror, and you cast Sigourney Weaver as the evil queen, and give her a couple
True.
of really provocative sex scenes with Sam Neill.
Very true.
You ever seen that movie?
Also, no, I haven't. That sounds great though.
It's actually pretty good. But yeah, go on.
Like, I guess you haven't seen it, so you might not know. Like, is the huntsman in the movie?
Snow White and the Huntsman. I have seen that movie. Oh, you mean sorry? Is the
The
Huntsman
new
from the?
one.
Yes, and because in the original story, he shows her mercy. Like he feels bad from what I remember,
Yeah,
and he's like, I will, you know, she's obviously an innocent. I'm not going to hurt this person, and I regret that I even said yes. And then he helps her, and
yeah.
she pleads for her life in the story, where she's like, you know, her innocence comes forward, and it's like, oh, you know, but he is in this movie, but apparently the scene's very different, where she's like kind of telling him off, and then he's still because I, you know, she needs to be she
Because I
needs
feel like,
agency, which it's like I
if
get
you're,
it, but
yeah, if you're gonna, that's basically what I was getting at. If you're going to go the length of, we have to rebrand Snow White to be something modern and political and make a statement, then she can't be like a damsel in distress, right? You
yeah,
can't you can't also do that in the movie, right?
no, you can't, yeah, and they really don't, they really like, you know, the whole thing of the prince. It's like there's no prince, and instead the guy who's the prince is like one of the out of work actors, who's just like a cute
Mm,
guy who's broke, And it's like someone was laughing. They were like, "What could this man offer her? He's just like a pretty face with no job. He's not, like it's just." I'm not saying a guy has to have a job to earn love, but it's like you want to like create something that's like, a fairy tale is meant to capture a certain sense of romance. So like
Right.
if you're going to have a male lead, even if he's going to be a bandit or a broke guy, whatever, there has to be something about him that's really enthralling to a
Right.
young woman. And instead they kind of made him just a wet blanket because they don't know what to do to make anything sexy. So it's
I,
just kind of
I
lame.
really want to. I want to watch this now. I didn't know that's what they tried to do.
Oh yeah, I want you to see it and talk to me about it because I am just telling you what I've heard in multiple reviews, and I think
I'm
it's hilarious.
kind of excited now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, apparently it's one of those like really fun train wrecks, and I know you, Dan. I know you love a good train wreck.
I fucking love when Hollywood writers think they're going to change the world and it completely backfires. And it's I fucking love that when people are like, "This is important. What we're doing is important. I'm
Yeah.
important. I'm doing this important." Like when people do that and it backfires, one of my favorite things in the entire world.
Yeah. I
Like
mean,
if you don't call your shot and you just make something you believe in and it bombs, that's not fun for me. But when you call your shot and it backfires,
yeah.
ooh, I love that.
Yeah. Well, especially like the more bombastic their self-congratulation, the more exciting the collapse
Oh
of the
yeah,
project. I mean, like when the
right.
Eternals came out, I don't know if you saw in the promotion around the movie, but like the cast
Yep.
of the movie, they're at the premiere saying this movie will save lives.
Yep.
And it's like, I respect that they've like their idea about representation. Like I actually don't have a problem with that. Like if they're like, seeing gay characters in a superhero movie is going to be really good for young gay people. I'm like, I agree with that. That is actually really
Mm.
cool. But making the claim that your movie about people fighting big monsters and it's like a Marvel movie that is going to save
Save.
lives, like
Life
really?
saved.
Like really? Like, hey, have you ever seen Philadelphia? Have you ever seen Dallas Buyers Club? Those are really powerful movies that deal with
Yeah.
things that happen to queer people. This is not that. Like, you did not make that. You made a
Yeah.
very forgettable CGI vomit fest, and it's like the fact that they publicly said that. It's like, why would you line yourself up to become a meme that people will
Yeah.
reference? Because now it's like the amount of jokes I saw of people like using that, being like, this movie will save lives, and then next to it they just show the creeping box office numbers. It's like, why would you set
Yeah.
yourself up for that?
Yeah. You're just said you're asking for it at that point.
Yeah.
You're like, also the plot of the Eternals is Earth is an egg and the thing inside it wants to eat us. Like what are like come on. This isn't the time or the place to be like
Isn't the time or the
work
place?
work on your script. Like work on your script and then you can pepper in the stuff that's gonna save lives. But if that's the premise, like come on, this isn't the time or the place.
That's amazing. I love
Uh,
that. I love that. That's great.
it's just not. It's like this is so fucking goofy. Like what are we I couldn't tell you the names of anyone in that movie except Icarus because it's a name that I've heard of, and it they spelled it with a K, and I was like, that's dumb, and like that's it. I don't remember anyone else's names. I remember the thing inside the egg is Tiamat,
Oh, Tiamat. Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
and it
I've never seen
wants
the
to.
movie, so I don't really know.
It's really not good. I couldn't tell you what the bad guys are. Um, man, what a forgettable film.
That's a shame.
It's really really weirdly forgettable. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember anything. They live forever, they're eternal. They were sent here to grow humanity to a point where they're edible for Tiamat. It's so weird, and like I can't tell you the bad guys are called the deviants. I don't know. Really really forgot too many
Is
things in that
Icarus
movie.
the one played by the guy from Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Okay.
And he's like essentially like Superman. He can like fly and he has like laser vision and he's like fucking crazy powerful and like all the other ones teamed up can barely stop him and like it's it's very very weird. It's all these movies that are like a team movie and instead of building the team over the course of multiple things, they're like here's six people, care about all of them right now. And it's like that doesn't work.
I think it
That
could.
really
I
doesn't.
really do think it can work. I just think you have to. The problem is that you have to be able to write an ensemble. But
Yeah.
like the X-Men, for example, I would actually prefer they're introduced as a team than individuals because I think they work better as like those characters were not created as individual
So okay,
comics.
you're correct, because I did like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and that
Yes.
was very much a here's a whole bunch of crazy shit, care about all of it in the span of 2 hours.
Right. Yeah.
You can do it, but man, you need good writers.
Yeah, you do, and it is harder to do that, and a lot of writers just don't have the juice. They don't.
Yeah.
They just it's just not a thing, and it's like I keep hearing talent isn't a real thing. It's just hard work, and like to some extent
Mm,
that's true, but talent is very real, and you can definitely know what talent is when you see where it's lacking. You know.
hard work can also increase talent, and yeah, it's weird. They're symbiotic. They're unique and symbiotic. You can people without talent can work hard and do really good stuff, and but people with talent can work hard and get even more talented. It's like
Yeah. Well, also,
it,
you know what's funny, Dan, is that do you find that this conversation only really happens around the arts in a way that I find really funny? Like,
yeah. No one's like, you got a real talent for banking. It's like you get a real talent for installing sinks. Like it's
yeah,
only yeah.
yeah, no, and nobody nobody looks at a of I don't see people having the same conversation about any profession, even sports. They're not like, oh, well, it's not really talent. He just worked hard. Like, no, of course he or she has a proclivity or like a propensity for a certain type of movement.
Yeah.
Some people are really fast runners. They just have that.
Yep.
And some people are just like really strong. They just like are built big when they're kids. They grow up big and they just have those thick ass bones that can move heavy shit.
Yeah.
For some reason with artists, there's always this like really impassioned debate about like, oh no, it's not talent, it's hard work. And it's like, it's both. It's both. Like,
I think it's because we can't see brains. If I see a 6'5" person, I'm like, he's probably very talented at basketball. It's like we can't see our brains though. So
yeah,
it's like we
yeah.
assume everyone's is the same. And it's like it's really not.
The
It's
closest,
as unique. Yeah.
the closest people get is they see a guy with glasses and they go, he's probably
He's
smart.
probably very smart and possibly has a British accent, which would only make him smarter. But
yeah. Yeah,
I
I think
think
that's a
it's
part
just
of
that
it.
we
Yeah.
can't see brains. Yeah, you can see a person and be like, wow, they're probably great at football. But like, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, after watching a bunch of true crime, I have to tell you, you can see brains. You just got to really work at it.
Oh,
Just like everything else.
how long do you think before they reboot the Hannibal franchise again?
Oh man, I think they're going to cycle back to that in like 2030.
2030?
I think around 2030 early they're going to cycle back to it because I think by then the superhero craze will either have died out completely or it'll be kind of going the way of the Western where it pops up every now and then.
Yeah.
And I think fantasy is going to take a big part of the reins because people are wanting more heroic myths and stuff. But
Mhm.
so I think superhero is going to be replaced more with like mythical hero fantasy stuff. But I think because of that, it's going to create a market that's like people want darker stuff. And I think the appeal of true crime goes up every day. Like so much true crime on the
Yep.
internet is super popular, and
Yep.
horror consistently does well. I've learned in the market. Um,
I was listening to like a Netflix guy talk about that, where he was like, "Yeah, we could spend $1 billion, 500 million filming, and another 500 million advertising some high budget show, or we could just release, Who Killed This Lady, and it makes the same amount of money, and
that's
it
amazing.
costs like $100 to just get some people and some stock footage.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I mean, it makes sense. Like true stories are inherently like, I just watched the thing
Yeah,
on oh my god. So do you watch any true crime documentaries or anything like that or
I have a rule.
go ahead.
I have a rule.
What's the rule?
If something is going to upset me, I will only engage with it if I can either use it or have an impact on the outcome. So if someone's like, "Hey, let's watch like Who Killed John Benet Ramsey," no, 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 I'm not going to. I'm not going to do it. It's only going to make me upset. It's only going to make me frustrated, and it's only going to make me speculate. That I don't need those emotions. I don't need to feel them. I don't think it's. I personally feel like it's kind of gross to turn this kid's death into like a I'm gonna eat some popcorn and sit on the couch. Ooh, I wonder who did it. Like, I don't
Yeah.
engage with that stuff. If it's something where they like if they ever figure out who the Zodiac killer is, like for real, and like they do a whole thing on that, I'll watch that. If there's like an ending where they catch the guy, like okay, but like if it's just an open-ended question and it's just a whole bunch of negativity with no, payoff. It's like I don't ingest that. But that's just me.
Yeah, no, I actually completely understand that. And so I actually, I'll tell you how I overlap with you on this. I have kind of a strict rule about the true crime that, and it is, and I've talked about this with Gross Girl. It is almost exclusively detective stuff of like how they caught somebody.
Uh-oh, you there?
Hello? Oh, my internet died.
It died. I heard you have a rule, and you talked about it with Gross Girl. That's the last thing I
Okay,
heard.
am I back now?
Back now.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, something, my internet's being, I don't know if it's the internet or OBS or something, but it's not great. But you can hear me, right? And chat, let me know if
Yes.
you can hear me, chat. Gross Girl and I were talking about JCS, criminal psychology.
JCS is great.
Oh, so you've seen it?
I love JCS. Yes.
They just came back. They just had their first video in like a year or something. Or
What?
Oh.
I got to go watch that stuff that I will watch.
yeah,
Yes.
it's the best. They're so
Yes.
good, and there's so many like imitation channels.
Yes.
Where people try to do the same thing, but they don't have that. They don't have the JCS juice. They don't have.
No.
It's so good.
Because JCS is more like Sherlock Holmes. It's more like, look at this tick. Look at this thing we noticed. The story's not adding up for these reasons. And like it's like a deduction process.
Mm-hmm.
And like that stuff I will engage with. I love that. That's perfectly fine.
So that is the stuff I watch more. So I don't do a lot of the unsolved mystery stuff because similar to you, I find it frustrating. I mean, like, so Malka, she gets more into true crime in some cases than I do. And we ended up watching something on Netflix together that left me furious. And I was like, I don't want to watch anything more like this because it was, it was one of those situations where a woman was kidnapped and they were blaming the boyfriend that they thought he killed her. And then as it turns out, the boyfriend was telling the truth and she had been kidnapped. And while they were trying to blame the boyfriend, she was repeatedly, assaulted.
Yeah.
And like, and then she did escape. She was, she was freed and they did catch the guy like a year or two later. But like, if they had just believed the boyfriend, she would have been spared that and they could have caught the guy. And they even had evidence that they just were ignoring because they were so certain it was the boyfriend, which is like really infuriating. I was just like, this makes me want to punch somebody in the, it just like, and then when she got back, they were trying to pin it on her and saying that she kidnapped herself because there's like, there are some women who have done that where they've like faked their own kidnapping as like a.
She did a Gone Girl.
Yeah. Well, there's been a lot of cases of that are really weird, but like she doesn't have any of the narcissistic traits. Like she was clearly telling the truth. If you watch her talk about it, it's like clear that she's not. And it's like the problem was that, they were honest about the fact like that these were just specifically a group of detectives that were just not very smart. Like these were just bad. Like they were just, there's just a problem sometimes where like to be a good detective, you got to be a really clever person. And sometimes people end up, getting the job who just can't do it. They just don't have the brain for it. And so they're just kinda, which is like really, a shame. But yeah, the documentary ended and it was like, she's fine now. They have kids, they're happy. And she's like, I've moved on with my life. And I was like, okay, great. But I'm so enraged that this dude got away with that for years and that multiple women have been, and I'm just like, God, that really,
I don't like engaging with things that are only going to make me upset. It's like, I don't know. I think a lot of people externalize a lot of negativity because they don't know how to deal with it. So like watching something about really bad shit that happened to another person can help them kind of feel feelings that they're in denial with or something. Like I can't feel bad about this thing I went through, but if I watch this thing about someone else's experience, I can kind of interact with those feelings and access them in a way I'm not able to on my own because it's externalized. Like I think there's a lot of that involved with people that watch those shows, but I don't know. For me, it just makes me more upset. It's like, no, I could do so many things with my time. Why would I want to force myself to just feel awful?
Honestly, I think it even goes further than that. I do think some people just get a thrill out of disgusting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's just people that, and I think maybe it's human nature, like people who will slow down to look at a car accident. I don't know. I don't know if it's like people they get a chance to engage with something really horrific so that they can move on, and
Mhm.
it's like that's kind of I think why people like horror movies. It's
Yeah.
you get to interact with the thing that scares you, and then you get to take a step back and be like, oh, but I'm safe. I'm at home and I'm in my jammies.
Right.
But with true crime, it does feel more icky because people are getting sometimes. I mean, like there's some YouTube channels. I won't say the name of this channel. I don't want to put him on blast because he's probably an okay guy. But he would do like stories of like some of it was just fun supernatural stuff. But then he would have some that are like stories of like serial killers and everything. And
Hold on. Are you talking about my boy Chills?
no chilling. Do you mean chilling scares or chills?
I think it's Chills where he's like, at a lone market at 3
I know
p.m.,
that guy. I know.
apple rolls across the ground. What supernatural force could have pushed the apple to make it roll in such a way? Like, yeah, I think
That
his name's yes.
that YouTube channel is a source of constant curiosity for me. I don't
Yeah.
understand. There's a culture surrounding that channel. Like the comments are all people who are either are super confused at why the guy sounds like that, or they're
Mhm.
people that are like, dude, it's so great with this guy's voice. I,
It's ASMR.
but his voice is so. It's like and it seems to be getting more exaggerated. Like sometimes I saw one that he did in this past year. He did like a 5 hour compilation and it's so over the top. He's literally like, "Is this house haunted or is it not? Let's find out." And it's just like,
Yeah.
it just keeps,
Oh.
and it's like the most intense like vocal fry I've ever heard, and I couldn't stand it. But people in the comments were like, "Ooh, this makes it so much creepier. I can't wait to fall asleep to this." I was like, "How can you fall asleep
Oh.
to this guy talking?"
It's like a spooky old creaky door slowly closing. Oh. It's great.
The channel, no,
Oh.
the channel I was talking about was So there's a channel called Lazy Masquerade,
Okay.
and they do. He's really good. He does a lot of like true crime, but also supernatural stuff and like ghost stories. But when he used to, he changed his sign off because he used to end his videos by being like, "Remember, the best things happen in the dark," and then it's like you just got done telling me about how someone killed their whole family. Like that's not.
Yeah.
Um,
That's the best thing.
yeah, I just it's the kind of sign off that he maybe thought sounded sexy and cool because it's like the best things
Yeah.
happen in the dark. You mean like boobs or something? Like I don't know what you're. That's not what this
Yeah.
is. And then so I think someone might have told him that because he changed his sign off to something more like like less cringy.
Yeah.
But the fact that I would like some of his videos. I thought they were really well done. And then at the end, he would say the best things happen in the dark, and it's like you just established that they don't. Like, what are you
That's
talking
like
about?
something I would expect Alice Cooper to say at the end of the Muppet Show or something. It's
Yeah,
like not wrong venue
yeah. He said it while looking deeply into the eyes of the count.
in cat makeup. Yeah. Oh, unfortunately, I have to go. My carpenter, who's helping me hang a bunch of stuff on my third floor, showed up a little early.
Yeah, you got it, man.
He just texted me that he's outside, so I'm going to go do that. And it was lovely talking to you. I can't believe it's already been 90 minutes. Time
Mhm.
flies when I'm talking to you.
Yes, sir. God bless you.
But keep me posted about food related things, and if need be, we will find some solutions.
Okay, I'll also keep you posted with pictures of my cat, and you can approve of my suit. I'm just gonna keep you
Please
posted on
do.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Please do.
But all right, man. I'll see you later. Love you, dude.
All right, love you. Bye. Mm.
Well, there you have it, America. That was Dan Warren. He comes and goes as easily as the day transitions to night, like a northerly wind. He leaves, but he shall return to take the leaves from the trees. I can't seem to get this in focus. I'm so sorry. It might not be that it's out of focus. It might just be that the resolution's bad because my internet is weird or something. But yeah, I don't know. How are all of you? Let me check the chat. reading Edgar's comment that I probably crouched down on the toilet instead of sitting like a normal person. Damn it, Edgar! I confided in you about that. You weren't supposed to use that against me. At Gross Girl, you said it's such a tone deaf SNL move. I'm wondering which thing you're talking about. But underneath you said that's true, Ryan. Which I know I know that was a separate thing, but I like that in sequence. It sounds like you're describing me as a tone deaf SNL move. Yeah, okay, so you're talking about Snow White. She's strong, independent, debatably young adult woman. She can't beg. Heroes don't beg. Um, yeah, and it's like the whole point of the original. The whole point of the original, and I can see the point you're making. I agree. The whole point was that like she begs not because she's pathetic or anything. It's because she's like an innocent, like she's a good person, and he can tell. And he sees this beautiful young girl begging for her life, and he's a human being, even though he was sent to kill her. He's like, I can't do this. But because it's this modern movie, they have to have her like, she's like, kind of like showing how she's not afraid, which is like, why would she not be afraid? She's not a veteran of some war. She hasn't like confronted stuff like this before. Like, even if she has, like, you think you're about to die, like I don't know. It's just there's this weird thing where they think in order to make a woman strong, you have to make her inhuman, and I don't really understand that because I think femininity already has so much. There's so much power in that, and like her character as a compassionate queen, like that's a really powerful character to have, and I guess that's what they're trying to do. I haven't seen the movie, but every time that clip came up of her like talking to the woodsman like she's not scared, I was like, oh, that's not the whole point is that she reasons with him because she's good, not but I don't know. I also don't really. It's funny that Snow White came up because I don't really want to join the throngs of people talking about that movie one way or the other. It's just not. It's not interesting to me. I do like the original movie though. The cartoon is great. Oh, Sharky! Thank you for switching over. I'm Sharky's side piece. Now that Dan's cast is over, Sharky just tumbles into my door drunk at 2 a.m. He's like, yo, I saw you. You were looking pretty good at Dan's place earlier. Hey, what's up, Artie? You're passing the time, Jacobo, with concept stuff? That's cool. What I'm doing here is I'm redoing a page. Also, can you guys tell me, is this in focus on your end, or is it coming in blurry? Because it looks like it's in focus, so it should be. What I'm doing here is, so this is a page. This is the original. Do I still have it? Yeah, this is the original. Let me bring it up to the top so you can see it. It's the original page I did. And I don't really like it anymore, especially not this area. It was done before I switched to my iPad. It just looks really amateurish. It just doesn't have that professional, clean feeling. So I'm getting rid of it. I'm redrawing it. Trying to see if I can do something that's a little more to my own liking. Especially Arthur's throne room, you know. Let's see. See if I just darken everything. Nope, that's not good. I don't know. I'll make that decision later. I think in the meantime, this could use a little more detail. Okay. Um, meaning it is blurry or it's not blurry on your end, Gross Girl. When you guys look at this, does it look blurry to you? Because when I look at an OBS, it always looks really clear. And the last video I did, I was like, oh man, it looks so unclear and bad. And then I saw the playback afterwards and it was coming through very, very clear. So I think it's just my internet makes live streams look like they were filmed on hamburger phones. Well, let me put on some music for you guys. I'm only going to be on a few more minutes because then I got to go pick up my fiance from work. But I wanted some time alone with you guys just now that it's just us. Can you guys hear my cat meowing? Meow. Meow. He's just out there doing that. Okay. I am free to chat next week sometime. Yeah, I missed a lot of days of streaming this week because it's just been a lot catching up on work because we had Passover. We're still having Passover, but we had her family, her mom over, and you know, spending a lot of time with family, doing multiple Passover dinners and stuff, and just being exhausted for a few days. I just didn't have it in me to do anything other than get just a little bit of paid work done. But things are more reasonably chill now. Hey, what's up, man? Wait, guys, you guys ready to hang with my cat? Here he comes. Watch. Here comes my cat. Come. Say hi. Oh my god, he's shedding so much. Just like huge clumps of hair coming off of him. Oh my god, there's so much. Jesus Christ. I pet the cat and an entire cat's worth of fur came off of him. Never stops. He never stops shedding. It's crazy. Lord. He's doing well. He's just shedding a lot. He's doing great. He might be done with his medicine for his feline COVID kidney failure stuff. I don't know. Yeah, he's doing good. He's a good boy. I love him very much. I was just talking to my mom and being like, man, I really love this cat. I've grown to really love him. Oh, you know what? I have to feed him. Well, I'll wait a few minutes. I'll let him just... So here's the throne room as I have it before. You know, now that I'm looking at this page, I don't think it's that bad, but I don't like these eyes on the bottom. It looks not great. And her face here, I don't know. It's not bad. It just doesn't have what I'm looking for. I think maybe I got a little over-reliant on some of these textures. Maybe not. But this panel looks pretty good. Okay, well, let's see. Looking at this old one, what would I change about it? The music fits the page vibe. What's a niv? Oh, a niche. Sorry, I think you miss. I think it's just a typo. So let me see. Experiment with this. Let me take these and go. Because maybe it's just if I fix these last bottom panels. Yeah, okay. Maybe I can work with the original. I don't know. I just want to change the throne. I don't know if... And maybe that one shot of her. And that second panel. Like my arm hair, I don't know if you can see it. It's just covered in cat hair. And like I gotta go brush him in a second because I'm gonna be sneezing all night. This guy. Yeah, I can't believe it's already been 90 minutes. Broken Blade, what's up, man? You're free all day, every day, because you're house sitting. Okay, great. So you know what we'll do? Tomorrow's Friday. If not tomorrow, Gross Girl, let's do a day where like I call you early in the day and we just stream for a long time if we can. And just like have a good buddy stream. I would love that actually. I missed talking to you. And I think I'm gonna have a few other people on next week too. I'm gonna be picking up the stream tempo because I haven't done much over the past week because of Passover stuff. I'm not even Jewish, and Passover like holds my life up. But okay, guys, that might be it for now. Have a good one. I love you guys. Thanks for coming in. I hope you enjoyed the chat, and I'm gonna try to edit like some kind of highlight reel of all the weird, I might do a reel highlights. It's just me and Dan talking about King Arthur for like for like an hour. But I think a lot of the times we talked about King Arthur have been on his stream when he and I first met. And I don't know how to find that episode.